How's it going, El Primero? This is Mr. Rio Cesar, whatever you call me, man. It's all good. So today I found myself, hey, I keep bringing up this thing in staff meetings and anything that I do with you guys, and I'm like, I might as well show you what I've been blabbering about. I really like it. It helps with office hours, so let's get into it. So this is what I use to record. Ignore that. So OneNote, you might have become familiar with it in the past. You might have used it. Maybe you didn't like it. I didn't like it, but I found that for this intended purpose, it works beautifully. Pi doesn't require you to buy any additional material, and if it does, hopefully it's not a whole lot. You can use your finger, you can use a stylus, you can use a tablet, you can even use a cell phone. So what I have myself is I'm recording on my desktop, and everything that I'm going to do on here on OneNote, I'm doing on a separate tablet. So it's not connected to the computer, but it does update in real time. So I'm going to use some red right here and write El Primero High School staff. All right. So I just literally wrote this on the tablet, and it has zero contact with the desktop, but OneNote does sync, and it does a very good job of syncing. At the moment, sometimes it does lag and it takes a few moments, but overall it works well. So obviously, if I'm using this and I'm showing it to students or I'm recording myself like I am now, all of this right here is a bunch of extra stuff that maybe I don't need to show the kids. So I can always close this, and before I completely shut it, you can see some of the basics. This is basic text writing, inserting. You can add all kinds of things on here, equations, symbols. So for math people, science people, works beautifully, but it's not just for for them. It's also for other English people, English, humanities, etc. You guys, I bet if you play with it, you can find all kinds of things. So this is what I use mostly right here. My eraser, different colors. Notice that I have a dark background. For my eyes, it's easier. Also, maybe for kids, when you record, it's much easier to see than a big white screen. Also, if you don't like the big white screen, you can change the colors. So right now, because I have the background very dark, you can switch it to different colors, but that's too much light. That's too happy for me. I like dark. I like it black, like my coffee. So here we go. You can close this, not close it, sorry, take it back, make it big screen. And this is what the kids will see. And maybe this right here is a little bit more than I want them to see, but hey, at least you guys can see this. You have different colors, so I am using colors that stand out on black screen. So red, black, green here, and white. These are my main colors. And of course, you can add other ones. This is a highlighter. You can add pens and highlighters and pencils and the different types of tips. So I mostly use the white and the red most of the time with students. So I'm a math person, and I like to use math equations. And here's one of the very basic ones. F equals m times a. Don't worry, this is not a physics lecture happening here, but more showing you one of these features where if I go and I circle it with my little lasso tool, I think it's what they call it, on my screen it looks like a box. And then I go and I switch to math. There should be something called math, and then it highlights and it does ink to math. And in my case here, it's not doing a good job of it. It thinks that I wrote something else, and it's mostly because of my handwriting. And let me show you what it shows me, what it thinks I actually wrote. And that looks really small, right? That's a bad thing. But you can always zoom in on that. You can change this yourself. As a matter of fact, I am gonna let this thing go away, and you can zoom in. If you want to take this and edit it later, you want to put it somewhere else. So I'm having a hard time finding some of the basic stuff here. Here we go. So there it is. It's clearly not what I wrote, but also I have very ugly handwriting, and it has worked fairly well in the past. So I'm going to go back to what I had before, and I'm going to zoom in actually a little bit more. just because kids want to see. So back to this, and on my tablet I'm going to hit undo. Go away, silly equation that didn't work out. And it doesn't want to, so I'm going to grab this, click on it and delete it, and it goes away. There you go. But anyways, the best thing about this is that you move this around and kids see everything that you get to write. So more recently I've been working with Coulomb's law. And of course, just like on a whiteboard, you want to do examples of how you would solve for one thing. So instead of using all one color, I would use blue here. D squared. These cancel out. I'm going to use a different color for that. Right, and then you have now your new equation, d squared times f, and I'm using my finger as I click around. Sometimes it's being silly. Times f, and I think it's because of my fingertips, equals k times q1 times q2. So you get the idea that you can use different colors, and then you can keep moving around. So maybe when I already finally fill this area out, so let's say that I have writing right here, and I'm starting to really take up the space. It's like, so my tablet obviously much smaller screen, and then I have more writing right here. You can move this around and you can keep writing. And as you can see, it's lagging a little bit, and this does happen. So I already wrote something and it has yet to update, and sometimes I found myself wondering why that happens. But it does update, and if you're in the middle of an office hours, that's okay. If you're recording, that's the part where you fill in you fill in some filler conversation till it updates, and then you can keep going on, because obviously you don't want to keep writing because that can confuse students, especially when it all pops up again, and there it goes, and now I can move on. Anyways, you can also add images and shapes. There's an option right here that says shapes, and you can add things. And if you're a math person, you can add your graphs. If you're not a math person, you can probably use ink to text to change all the writing that is there. Or you want to add images and show examples of how to manipulate it, which I did. And let me show you what I did, if it lets me here. Huh, there it is. I have the right hand rule, so I drew this and I put some examples. So get creative with this. If you're recording and you know that it's really hard to just show on a computer screen and you need to write it out, give it a try. Maybe it helps. Other than that, I hope this helps, guys. I know I blabbered a little bit, but at least you guys got to see it. Experiment with it. If you have any questions, hit me up. You guys know how to reach out to me. Other than that, you guys have a good one. Let's get through it. You guys can do it.